Hi guys, I'm Trojan and this is my channel, Gaming Hexer. Welcome back to my second installment of my series of my show and tell concepts in Space Engineers. In the previous episode I said that I would be looking at the larger ship that appeared in that episode, and I'm really excited to show you some of the sort of mechanics I've put together within that build. Here you can see is the fighter with the landing gear showcased in the first episode, and we're just going to use that now to fly over to the large ship and to access it remotely so we can actually board the ship. So we're going to do that now. So we're getting a bit of lag there where the large ship is rendering there in the distance. You can see it there now as we peek around the side of the asteroid. Be nice to see, because I'm not sure how other people's computers fare with the rendering in Space Engineers, but you know, a bit of some tweaking with regards to these larger structures off in the distance, and when they are rendered, to smooth that out would be nice, maybe. Oh, and our ship is upside down. Let me just right myself there. There we go. Right, so as we see it, this is Purge. You know, obviously I was going a bit fast there. Flew straight over. Right, so we can do a quick flyby of the large ship here. When I was designing the ship, the general idea was I wanted a carrier, and that's how it started. I wanted a carrier. I didn't have any idea as to what was the purpose of the carrier, what it would be carrying, for starters, what type of ship it would be supporting in its role, and it sort of evolved from there. This side we're looking at here, and it might be easier actually if I go into first the spectator mode. Let's do F8 for spectator mode. Let's quickly watch it out here. There we go. Speed up a bit. There we go. Rightio. Apologies for any jerkiness of the camera there. Right, Purge. This is the bridge up here, cockpit. We're going to go inside shortly and we'll have a good tour of the inside and show you some of the workings of it. So the front part of the ship mainly is the control center for the actual navigation of the ship. There is, I believe, a crew sleeping area and locker rooms and a mess area, which then there's this sort of sky bridge type, space bridge in this case, leading to the back part of the ship, which is more of the workhorse of the ship. We have 3 hangars here, 1, 2, 3, all of them working, controllable from most places in the ship, and remotely also. If you're flying a ship in here and you had access and an antenna, you could access these hangars remotely and open them from your ship. Engines and reactor rooms at the back. The inside is still very much a work in progress. I've done some of the rooms, not all of them, because I mainly was interested in the working mechanisms of the ship. This little bit you see here is how would I describe it now? This opens downwards, and inside there is a piston which pushes scrap or whatever debris is left over from a battle, parts of ships, into a group of grinders set at the back. Now that then feeds into a conveyor system which feeds the reactors, all the reactors on the ship, which there's a few, and the cargo containers. Also, you'll see when we go inside or when we open these hatches up, these hangars, is that I have a collector system in there for anyone who might be going out in smaller ships and grinding down whatever waste materials, scrap ships they find, could empty them in here, and it all feeds into the same system. And I believe that there is only, because this is more of a, although it sounds like it's a military support sort of vessel, it's more of a civilian logistics vessel where they would be the cleanup crew after a battle. That was the general idea. I have designed the ship so that it looks almost a bit like, let's say, a futuristic assault rifle type thing, and incorporated into that is this thing at the bottom here where it loads in the scrap, and it has a large grinding system down there. Was like sort of where the magazine would load in. That was basically what inspired the ship design. Right, I could just go straight into the ship, but my hatch is open, so I can. I was hoping to use the ship to access it remotely and do it like that, but I guess it's more appropriate if I use the ship to access the hangars at the back. So let's go in and have a look. And to do that, I will use my good friend here. There we go. Let's get rid of that. So here's the hatch. There is another sort of hatch looking type thing on the other side. It's just so that when this side is closed, there's symmetry on both sides, and they'd have to, anyone who was attacking the ship would have to guess. Right, you enter into this area here, which is just like the sort of airlock from the outside to the inside. And what you can do here is, if you push this button, that will close the hatch down the outside, which, as you can see, is just a rotor and some heavy armor blocks. And now we're sealed inside the ship, and we can close this one here, and that means that anyone who knows that's the hatch there, if they do manage to get through, they're then faced with this door as well. What you could have here is a sentry system, possibly set up. I haven't done that. I guess that's at anyone's discretion. Now the bridge I'm not finished with, but at the moment all I have sort of is this here, a sort of panorama of the outside. This is where the captain would be, sat in his lovely ship here. And if we go on the inside, you can see it's quite a good view of the space, well, in front anyway, and to the sides, not so much necessarily up and down. Because of the size of this ship, and it has its support vessels, it will have a couple of fighters to fight off pirates or anyone causing us problems, and it will have other vessels for carrying and grinding, welding, and what have you. So it has the manoeuvrability that it needs, and it has the protection that it needs. So I don't think it's too important for it to have so much sort of a view from the cockpit area. Back out again. I think we'll start from the top, maybe we'll go. Right. This large gate here, obviously one of the mods on the workshop there. I can't wait if these ever become operational, because that'd be awesome to have big doors like that and not have to set up pistons and rotors to sort of have your own. That'd be very cool. Big large open area, yet to be decided what I'm going to do with this area on the top deck leading from the bridge back to the main part. These will all be eventually sectioned off into rooms and different quarters. At the moment I have my med base set up here, purely just for the purpose of having a spawn area for when I do release the ship into a survival mode scenario. I'll have my spawn area here, and this will be made into some sort of access here into this room leading back towards the bridge. Here at the top deck of my bridge, it goes across to that links the front of the ship to the back there. I just thought it was a nice addition. I like to be able to look out of the ship and see the other parts of the ship. It gives you a scope of how large the structures are that you can build in this game, and I just thought it was very interesting. And anyone, if there was people coming in with cargo and that, you could sort of sit here. I might even put some chairs here or something if I can, so people could sit and view as a sort of like you would in the terminal of an airport, I guess. See the planes coming in. I thought it was a good idea. Moving back, right, this area here now is the hangars. So up here we have the control console, which is used to open these areas. So this side and this side will both open upwards, allowing access for ships to come in and land. Small vessels, probably mainly carrying personnel, coming in, changing shifts of crews. This side here is another hangar. This one goes up. This one I've made as a flat wall, so there's a landing area on the outside of the ship there. It's the one turret that I have, because this is a fairly important area. This is where the goods will be coming in and being dropped off into these collectors here. And again, another hangar here, aptly named hangar 1, 2 and 3 on the console. This leads back. Now we've walked the length of the ship from the front. We have a couple of large reactors back here which are fed from the grinders that I mentioned downstairs. We go into this system here. I will set up a button here, just so you don't have to go through all this. But lift, rear, deck 5 to 4. That's all that is there. Reverse, and this will bring us down to the next level. On the rear of the ship, I believe there's 5 decks, and at the front of the ship there's 2 decks. So this is deck 4. I'd like to see some signs. I know there's a mod there for signs. It'd be nice to come down the lift and see deck 4, or you're on deck 4, or just the number 4. It'd be handy for navigational purposes around the ship, because these ships can get big, and I have got lost in my ships before. It's ridiculous. This area here I thought was going to be more like, at first I thought these looked cool as sort of beds, as I've seen them being used in other workshop saves and worlds, but then obviously with the modding being released and updated into the game, there is beds now, and I'll show you what I've got as a living quarters soon. So I thought maybe these could then double up as a sort of more for aesthetic purposes, as a sort of holding area for either goods, or maybe even could amend this some way and have like cryopods or some sort here, because it would then conveniently lead into this area here, which, if you look, this is a stairway that goes to the bottom of the ship, down through deck 3, 2 and down to 1. That will be, I'll be showing you that in a moment now, when to show you the grinder. I have set up another empty room, not sure what to do with it yet. And now the bottom of the sky bridge here, this is only 2 levels, as does the front of the ship. If we come through here, right, as you can see, I've set up a sort of barrier here, because I thought this ship would be a nice venue or arena for an FPS battle. Like maybe have a ship set up as a boarding ship, would come, lock on, drill a hole in the top of this, and they would try and basically access the bridge. And these would be nice sort of choke areas for firefights. I just thought that would be quite cool. So, close that door behind us. Don't like leaving the door open. Going to be a mess area. Obviously the walls, I still need to put the panels up on the walls and section it off a bit to make it look less airy in here, and then we'll have a mess area for the crew. Another area for holding back in case anyone gets past that first door we have here. I wanted to try to avoid the use of sentry turrets inside here, because that would take away from the fun of, let's say, if you had an FPS scenario inside the ship. It'd be good to have two gangs sort of kicking off in here, as opposed to the turrets doing all the work and you just hiding behind a wall. I think that's a bit silly. Right here is the locker area. I have an armory, and the two there's a female one and a male one, and the lockers behind us here. Of course, this room is just for decorative purposes and just to add to the ship. Once the whole ship is done, I do like the panels on the wall. I think they really help. They take away from this sort of default texture of the light blocks, and this is really cool as well. I like this, the grated floor with the pipe. That's with the pipe running underneath. That's a whole block now, so that's not just a panel on top of a block, which means that if we were downstairs looking up, which luckily there's not a downstairs here, then we'd be seeing the same thing if we looked up. But it's not in this case, so that's grand. That works fine there for me. We're working on forward. Now here, the bunk beds, double bunk beds, in case you want to bunk with your buddy. If we go upstairs here, nothing up here really, just a viewing area, again to view outside, so that in the crew bunk area there is some sort of a view, so that it's less sort of claustrophobic. Lighting, I still need to do a lot of lighting in the ship, but that's to come, and that's not so bad. We have a little computer console, little health console here, and the door. Now this is, we're heading back towards the front of the ship now, so this is the other airlock. This is the first airlock we came through, so you can see that we came in and we went that way into the bridge. We'll close that behind us, and we'll close that. So we've only covered the first the two top decks of the ship, and there is 3 more to cover at the back. So we're going to fly over there. And we'll access the hangars remotely. Just to show you them working, which I think would be cool. So let's go out there and do that. So here are the hangars 1, 2 and 3, and you can see all I've done is painted a little square on top so you can see if you're approaching and you're accessing remotely. If you want to head towards the left one, you know that's number 1, and the right one to the far right is number 3. So when you go into your antenna system and you click on the logistics Scavenger class frigate, which is what I have it named of at the moment, we have hangar 1 blast doors, hangar 2 blast doors, hangar 3 blast doors. So we'll open hangar 1 for now. Forget it, we'll open all of them. And if you look, that's them opening there. Now it'll give you access to the top of the ship there. So what we'll do for now is we'll just fly in. If I can do it without demolishing the ship would be awesome. Let's go into this one here. See if I've done that right. Right, as you can see, I haven't extended my landing gears all the way because there's not much room here to be having the long spindly legs out. So we'll just land in there anyway, like that. Lovely job. Lock them in. I'll turn my engines off in case the ship does decide to start moving. I don't want my little ship to be torn from where it sits there. Right, I promised I'd do this, so let's go down to the, if I can remember how to get down there, to the rear, to the lower decks. Send my lift back up, so let's look for the stairway. It's this way, I believe, the stairway. Here we go. Right, the next deck, as far as I remember, this is deck 3. Not a lot going on here. You can see where, starting at the 3rd deck, is where we can't go any further into the front of the ship, so we have to go up a level to gain access. So if anyone does gain access to the ship from these lower levels, they'll have to get up and then move across. They can't just go straight across to the front of the ship where the bridge is. Just a little viewing area there, I thought was a nice little touch. This area, I'm not sure how to deal with it yet. I think I might have incorporated a bit too much space into the ship with regards to what the ship was actually going to be doing. I might open this out in the future and have extra sort of, let's say, warehouse area, considering the nature of the ship. Let me go down. Right, here we are. The piston's already been moved forward, I must change that. This is a cargo area. Right, hidden upstairs there is 3 larger cargo containers which will hold the overflow for what these guys can't. Now you'll see this conveyor tube. This conveyor tube goes right up through the ship and it feeds into every system. Down here is connected to these grinders. I'm going to show you how this system works now. I'm just going to get in my seat, and then I'm going to move the perspective of the camera to get a better view of me and the system at work. So let me just jump in here quickly. You can see on the hotbar down there I have my pistons set up, which will open the bay doors to load in the scrap, the grinders and the piston. Now, I did want to show you this at work, and I might sacrifice one of my ships to do it. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. So first let me set up my camera, get this guy back. So I'm just pulling the piston back on the inside at the moment so you can see actually in work in progress. So let's open that up there, and if I fly inside you can see that I'm pulling the piston back, so it'll be then in place to push our ship forward into the grinder, so you can see it at work. If I go in here you'll see I'm sitting up there. So when you're up there and you're controlling the system, there I am, oops sorry, you can push your buttons that you need to push, and then you can actually get up out of the cockpit while it's doing the work, and you can walk along to make sure that anything that's in there isn't going crazy and bouncing off the walls. You can make sure that anyone who's put anything in there, how they've turned off engines, stuff that might damage the inside components of the grinder when they're at work. So he's back into position almost. What we're going to do quickly, I really should have thought of this first, is I'm going to get back into my person like that. I'm going to come out of here, and I might just see to get out now. I might just quickly drill a hole in the wall to get out so that we can do this properly. And where's my fighter? There he is. Let's turn the engines on. Unlock. Let's get our rotors in. Our landing gear even in. Lock them in place. Right, let's back out here and go down here. Right, it's been a while since I've put this thing into practice, so it'd be interesting to see if it still functions the way I'd like it to. Right, this is a fairly big ship. I know it's a small ship, but it's a big ship with regards to the space that we have here. So what I'm going to do is I might need to put it up on its side like that. Back a bit, left a bit, and down a bit. And hopefully turn the engines off. Out we get. Right, this should be quite interesting. So let's go back in the space we made here. Let's close the hatch. Right, so I've just had to come out and reposition a couple of things here. There was a barrier, sort of blocks in the way here, which would have prevented some of the larger items from being pushed forward into the grinder. So I just removed them, and we're going to continue now. Back into the console, we're going to close. See what I'm doing here. I'm going to turn the grinders on, and I'm going to push the piston forward. I'm going to come out and have a look while that goes on. You can hear the grinders there. Obviously in creative, so I doubt we'll be getting anything in the way of... Oh, is that good or bad? It doesn't matter. It looks like that might have to be sloped there as well in order to push things down into the grinders. So I'll have to remember that. We'll see if it works now anyway. It's grinding away anyway. No. Explosion. Oh. It's a bit violent. Maybe I need to slow down the piston to give it time to do its thing. You see it's grinding it down anyway. As you can see, we have a few things up there that got away. And essentially then what you have to do is open up the hatch and let a small team of men in to clear up the rest. So we call the piston back, we turn the grinders off, and we open the hatch. I've just put this little hole in the side here just to make it easier, obviously, to get in and out. But you'd be in contact with a team of guys here, and you'd be telling them, you know, the hatch is clear to go in and do the clean-up job. Like so. That's what's left. Ideally, what you could do if you wanted is you could just push these bits in and then just restart the process. But I think, as you can see through trial and error, the heavy blocks that are here coped quite well. These light blocks around here took a bit of a battering, so they're going to get swapped out for some nice heavier blocks. That is my ship as it stands at the moment. That's just couple of fighter bays here. Like I said, everything's still very much a work in progress, but that was the general concept, to have a logistical ship, a support carrier or frigate, whatever you want to call it, that served that purpose as the sort of home base of a smaller fleet of ships that would be like the worker bees, bringing the scrap in while it grinds up the scrap and then distributes it through the ship for its conveyor system. No, I hope you like. If you like, subscribe. Thank you.